for the opportunity to make an impact this afternoon. The Big 12, a combined 66-0 against FCS opponents since 2019. The only conference with a perfect mark during that tenure, and tough start here for Northwestern State as the
ball
kick
placed at
goes
the 35-yard line, first down.
Bearcat offense getting ready to go to work. Brendan Sorsby played with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder last week against Bowling Green following a quiet season debut through the air against Nebraska. The redshirt junior threw for over 300 yards for the third time in his career. He accounted for 4 touchdowns against Eddie George's squad. Good starting position after the penalty from the 35, and they will get this game going with a big bang from their tailback, Evan Pryor, untouched into that second wave and a double-digit yard gallop.
And that's something that the coaches wanted to work on. They said they have 4 different running backs, and none of them have separated themselves to be the guy, and they really want to find 2 or 3 guys they can roll with. It's a good start for Cincinnati.
Pryor averaging right around 5.5 yards per carry. This is Sorsby ducking and dodging his way to a little bit of space along the far side. 13 more yards, and that is the elusiveness of Brendan Sorsby.
A nice job by Cam George getting up the field and forcing him to turn back, but Northwestern State didn't have the bodies on the backside once he did get turned back, and Sorsby is going to do this all day. He's a really athletic running quarterback. He doesn't want to run if he doesn't have to, but he is a very mobile quarterback.
So just like that, they have taken it all the way to the Demons 29, and now movement on the left side of the offensive line.
I think the discussion is going to be whether there was a flinch on the left side of the offensive line, and whether it was a flinch drawn by the defensive movement or if the offense flinched first. This is kind of what the referee conference is about.
Delay game, defensive tackle, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
One of the points of emphasis as far as the rules coming into this year, the communication from the defense throwing off the offense.
Yeah, you can't make a sharp movement or a sound that simulates a snap count if you're the defense. So what they notice there is either a movement or a sound by the defensive line causing the offense to move, and that's a delay of game, 5 yards for the offense.
They will hand the ball off left side. Pryor, just as he was getting ready to make a cut, goes down. Clinton Anakuru hit on the stop, setting up a 2nd and short. Scott Satterfield, year 3, and he feels this program is so close to turning the corner and really competing for a Big 12 championship this season. 52-year-old, 2-time conference coach of the year, both the Sun Belt and the ACC. Sorsby to throw for the first time, wide open out of the backfield, touchdown, Joe Royer.
I am such a fan of this play. Just anybody who wants to run this, if you get fast flow action, meaning that you have offensive linemen, quarterback, running back, the big formations to the field, you start to run all that formation to one side, and it's called Y hide. It's what we had when we were playing this, and really the point is that you're just trying to sneak your tight end out the back and test the eye discipline of the linebackers. And I don't know how eye discipline you lose number 11. He's also an all-everything player. If you wear number 11 for Cincinnati, you are a dude, and they've got guys on both sides of the ball. Royer with the touchdown there.
Well, that was quick. Little more than 90 seconds off the game clock, and Cincinnati marches it right down the field. 4 plays, 65 yards. Joe Royer coming off a 100-yard effort against Bowling Green. 1 catch, 1 touchdown. Bearcats fire the opening salvo.
Today's green zone features food trucks such as Alvarez, Ice, Nothing But Cake, and Dos Hermanos, as well as games, activities, children's special activations, and more. It's open all 3 hours prior to kickoff.
Sorsby, the 21-yard touchdown pass to Royer, and now the Demons with their first touch as a flag flies. Jay Davis lost the football, came right back into his lap. He's tripped up right at the 24-yard line, but let's wait and see what the flags are all about. It is a Big 12 officiating crew this afternoon. Henry Johns, the referee.
It'll be interesting to see when you get 2 flags in the field, sometimes 2 referees see the same thing.
Personal foul, illegal blindside block, number 25 of the return team. Half the distance to the goal, first down Northwestern State.
Mistakes for a young football team, and they are one of the youngest in the country, and Abram Johnston is in the heart and center of that youth as he gets ready for Northwestern State, making just his 6th career start, the redshirt freshman out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and back-to-back weeks on the road at a Power 4 school. This offense had a tough time getting it going last week at Minnesota.
Yeah, the lights were really bright for this kid, and they've also got 6 of their 10 offensive linemen on the 2 deep that are either freshmen or sophomores. This is an extremely young roster, and they're trying to learn how to win. The lights were pretty bright when they were playing up in Minnesota. Let's see if they're able to calm down a little bit early this week against Cincinnati.
Working in the shadows of their own end zone, they will try to get this ground game established. A couple of yards over the left side. So 70 freshmen and sophomores on this Northwestern State roster. And this is a program coming back from a horrific tragedy 2 years ago. Safety Ronald Caldwell was shot and killed midway through the season. So Northwestern State decided to cancel the remainder of the 23 season after 6 games. Their head coach, Brett Laird, resigned, and in steps Blaine McCorkle, really to build from scratch, thus the youth movement going on right now at Natchitoches. 2nd down and 8. Johnston's going to try to take off and run, but a good open field tackle is made. A point of emphasis this week for Cincinnati.
Defensively, I like what they're doing. So Jake Golday's had his hand on the ground for the first 2 downs, trying to be more of a pass rusher, and in that play, they rushed high on the left side and low on the right side, and what that means is they're forcing the quarterback out of the pocket in the direction they want, and then have a second-level player go up and make the tackle. It's a really nice scheme against a young quarterback who likes to run.
Burrell and Hicks, the 2 backs. Flag thrown, pass is caught. It's going to be shy of a first down. Tackled by Golday. A lot of laundry early in this first quarter.
Yeah, and anytime you see a swing pass like that, a lot of times that is a pass interference on the offense, which it looks like will be here this time.
Pass interference, offense number 25. Penalties declined, 4th down.
Yeah, anytime you have this little swing pass towards the sideline, you have someone trying to get a pick. And offenses will call it a pick, defenses will call it a pass interference. It's really, you have to sell like you're going to try and catch the ball. Wide receiver got a little bit too much body on the defensive player in pursuit. And then they were deciding, do we want to push them back and give them another shot, or just take the 4th down and force the punt? It looked like Coach Satterfield forced him to punt.
Redshirt freshman Cooper Evans gets the kick away. Covey on the back pedal at the 38, makes a couple of defenders miss, and he is lassoed down at the 45. Return of 7 yards. And for the 2nd straight series, excellent starting position for Cincinnati.
And a sneaky hard catch. The way the sun is facing and having a punter, a left-footed punter, that ball's going to curve directly into the sun. So in this direction early in the game, there's a lot of stuff that can happen if that ball gets lost up in the sun. So nice job by the returner to actually corral it.
Tawee Walker has checked into the game. It was Pryor on the first series. He's a decoy here. Sorsby wants to take a shot, running 3, inside the 10 to the 5, touchdown! 55 yards to Caleb Goody.
And this offensive staff, they recognized a weakness that they felt was there last year in the wide receiver depth and talent of the room. So they went out and got a bunch of different transfers to come in. And early on against Nebraska, they didn't feel like they gave them enough opportunities. They got more of that last week against Bowling Green. And you get Caleb Goody running free across the safety's face. Brendan Sorsby at that point is just trying to give him any bit of a catchable ball to get into the end zone. This Cincinnati wide receiving core has a chance to be very, very good, and that's one of the things they're going to try and iron out this week before they get to Big 12 play.
It was a point of emphasis in the offseason, an offense that lost Tony Johnson to the transfer portal. He's now with Miami. Xavier Henderson, Jamoy Mays, both gone to graduation. So what do? They bring in some speedsters. Caleb Goody, arriving from the Rockies, the Colorado State transfer, all Cincinnati early. Scott Satterfield confident his team was not going to overlook Northwestern State. His defense forced a quick 3 and out. His offense has made quick work against this Demon defense. And his special teams unit flying to the football. All Cincinnati early on. Third meeting between these two programs. Lane McCorkle, year 2, guiding Northwestern State. We really enjoyed our conversation with McCorkle. He had spent the last 6 years at Division III Belhaven, which is located in Mississippi. Took that program to new heights. Their first ever D3 playoff berth, their first ever USA South Conference title. And he told us he could have stayed there. He could have been very comfortable and kept winning football games, kept making the playoffs. But he wanted a challenge, and he knew this program was hurting.
Yeah, and they lost, after the horrible events of 2023, they lost 40 players to the transfers. And how do you rebuild an entire roster, as it looks like we have a false start on Northwestern State? But how do you build an entire roster from scratch after that? And he really talked about investing in kids.
Offense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And when he's talking about investing in kids, he wanted to say, he told us he wanted to find kids running towards something, not away from something when he's looking for transfers. Who wants to build something and become better? And man, you can tell that this staff really cares about building up young men. And you know, the results of of last week and early this game, it should not take away from the devotion that this staff has to their kids.
A lot of good high school programs in the state of Louisiana, and he has started to tap into that. After the penalty, this is Mayon Hicks, one of the transfers that he brought in from Furman.
You know, it's an interesting challenge when you're thinking about, you know, building a team from scratch. In a competitive conference, I mean, they've got Incarnate Word. They're not, it's not a pushover FCS conference, and you have to try and build it. They're trying to do it locally, get a lot of Louisiana kids, a lot of Texas kids, Arkansas. I think he highlighted the fact that when he got there were kids from 15 different states, and now they've got that down to 10. They want guys that want to be there. It's exactly how you build a roster if you had to be in that situation.
And they're getting kids from the same high school as Johnston is cut down high. Flying in for Cincinnati was Brian Sims, who's going to see more action today with Jack Dingle dinged up.
Yeah, and it's also, when you're looking at Northwestern State, you have a young offensive line. This defense led by Tyson Veit, it's hard to game plan against. There's not a lot of teams that run this 3-3-5 in the way that Cincinnati does, and really, they pioneered it. And teams like Baylor and now Nebraska and Clemson, all these guys stole the idea from Tyson Veit when he was with Iowa State with Matt Campbell. And you have a young offensive line that has to parse all that information out in their second Power 4 game in a row. It's a big task for this Northwestern State offensive line.
Play clock down to 2. They get rid of it quickly out of the backfield to Hicks, and he is upended by Matthew McDoom. And the second straight series, but they will send out the punter, Cooper Evans, 3 and out for the Demons.
I will say, results are not great so far in the first few drives. When you watch the Minnesota film, the first play of the game was a pick 6. There's been a lot more settled offense, even though there have been a couple penalties and they haven't quite gotten it past the sticks, but they have looked like the moment isn't quite as big as it was against Minnesota.
See if Cincinnati comes after this punt. They do not. They want to set up the return. Covey signaling for a fair catch, dropped it, but it comes right back into his lap. A fortuitous bounce inside Nippert Stadium for Cincinnati. Getting the vertical game going, a priority last week, and Sorsby delivered.
Yeah, Sorsby had his 4th 300-yard game last week against Bowling Green, which is a really stout offense. Well, they wanted to highlight more of that. They had less than 100 yards passing against Nebraska, and if you're going to play against these Big 12 teams that they're going to be encountering, you're going to have to throw the ball down the field, especially getting this running game going. They've got an experienced offensive line, an experienced quarterback, and he has gotten a lot more settled from last year to this year. They've seen him gain more confidence and gain more ease in the pocket. You can see against Nebraska, 69 passing yards. Against Bowling Green, 333. It's an intentional change they're trying to make, and it looks like so far they've also been able to continue that against Northwestern State.
He definitely has an NFL arm. Now, last year he completed just 29% of his passes, 20-plus yards, 5 of those going for touchdowns, and then building the chemistry with this new core of receivers that he had a first hand in bringing to Cincinnati. First down throw and catch. One of those receivers he brought, Cyrus Allen, the transfer from Texas A&M, his first catch.
And when we were talking to Coach Satterfield about them building the roster, they wanted to get a guy that's big and strong, and they got a couple of them. They got Caleb Goody and Jeff Caldwell, but you also got to get some guys that are kind of jitterbugs. And Cyrus Allen, that boy can scoot when he gets the ball.
Power football over the right side, up into the air, hurdling is Walker, now bouncing to the outside. Flag is down, looked like a hold on the edge. Walker into the end zone, but this one is coming back.
You know it's good when there are 3 flags in the exact same area of the field.
Takes away a really good effort from Walker, who hurdled the defender and showed some of his agility and what made him a big find in the transfer portal this year, coming in from Wisconsin.
There were 2 fouls on the play, 1 committed by each team. Holding, offense number 14. Personal foul, face mask, defense number 33. Penalties offset, we're going to replay the down.
So Barry Jackson, the receiver on the edge for Cincinnati, and then Landry Huddleston, the beast position, getting a hand up around the face mask, the guilty party for Northwestern State.
Yeah, and Huddleston came with Coach McCorkle from his last stop, and he's a dedicated guy, he's a physical guy, just got a little bit too handsy on the face mask. And it's a hard thing if a running back lowers his head and you're going to reach. Sometimes it's, I don't know, catch a finger in the face mask and you get called for 15 yards.
Yeah, he was the only player that followed his coach from Belhaven to the Demon campus. Slant over the middle, and it's a bullet caught and a first down inside the red zone. Pass caught by Jeff Caldwell. Cincinnati in business.
Yeah, and the free safety Christian Williams for Northwestern State is out, which he is a guy that gets the defense right. He's that guy who's going to fix any coverage. There's been some busts and some openings. And a lot of that is because they've had to shuffle their secondary due to that injury. So making a hard position harder without one of their best defensive players.
No Tyler Welch either, so they're playing with just 5 corners suited up today. First down. Looking for the cutback lane is Walker. Walker picks up 3.
Good pursuit there by the Northwestern State defense. When you're a defensive player, you're not trying to hit their numbers. You're trying to hit a hip. If you're on the front side, you're trying to hit his upfield hip. If you're on the backside, you're trying to close to that backside hip. You are not individually looking to make the tackle. Your team is trying to make the tackle. That was good team defense by Northwestern State.
A defense that really puts a lot of focus on their inside linebacker, Danny Sears. In this system for defensive coordinator Matt Connor, typically they can rack up some serious volume as far as tackles go. Out of the backfield, they swing at Walker, patient, waiting for the wall of blockers, and he is in. Plowing his way in for 6.
And that right there is the product of some athletic offensive linemen. You run a swing screen, the offensive line has to run a solid 15 to 20 yards sideways just to get in position to then head down the field. You're going to watch the right side of the offensive line. Those big fellas have to go sideways and then up the field and block guys that they're almost double the size of in some case. That's really the difference. When you're looking at why is the FCS and the FBS or the Power 4 and the smaller schools, what's different? It's how athletic the big fellas are. And Tarantayo and Ethan Green on the right side of that offensive line. Man, it's a unit they're very excited about, this offensive line.
Yeah, and it's an offensive line that they replenished. They lost 3 guys, 3 really good players who were in NFL camps this fall. Sorsby perfect today. Another touchdown pass, this time finding Walker out of the backfield. Bearcats up the ante. Zay Davis with the fair catch in series number 3 for Northwestern State. Don't forget, coming up at the half, Pete Souza, Taylor McCart take a look inside the Big 12 this week. They recap Baylor quarterback Sawyer Robertson's monster day against SMU last week. Plus, we will take a look at the beautiful new indoor facility here at Cincinnati. It's all coming up inside the Big 12, coming up at the half, along with stats and highlights.
As Northwestern State comes out on the field, one of the things we talked about with Coach Stewart, their offensive coordinator, was communicating better and making changes between drives. Let's see how the offensive line handles those changes.
Pull alignment on first down, but it does not work. Swallowed up in the backfield. Rob Jackson, the fifth-year senior, his first sack of the season.
I like to call those the where you going sacks. The pocket was actually pretty strong, but as soon as you see color flying in front of your face, even if it's on the other side of your offensive line, young quarterbacks, and Abram Johnson's a freshman, they sometimes get happy feet and run out of a safe pocket to danger. You're going to watch, there's really nothing causing him to move, but he decides to just bail out anyway and invites a sack. That's one that was not on the offensive line. That's the quarterback bringing pressure to himself.
Yeah, Logan Brady, the left guard, pulled over to that right side, did a good job. Johnston not helping that front five. Flying to the football again, nowhere to go. Simeon Coleman for Cincinnati in 3rd and long. They have just been behind the sticks in this first quarter.
Yeah, a lot of them, just the being behind the sticks, it's more mental than physical. It's like that last one is running out of a clean pocket to a dirty area. It's penalties, it's a false start. Again, this is a young roster, it's a young team. They're learning. They had a difficult test in week 2. They have another difficult test. They're just going to hopefully be able to iron these things out before they get into conference play.
Third and a mile. They bring Golday on a blitz, trying to work that screen, tip drill, and I think it's intercepted. Officials not indicating yet. Now they say Bearcat football. Taden Barnes off the tip and deflection, able to
Really
get
on the
his
field.
arms
It's an
underneath.
interception. First down, Cincinnati.
Man, we talked about mental mistakes. That was actually a really well called play. We talked
Ruling
about
on the field.
Nope. And they are actually
Ruling on the
going
field
to
of an interception is under further review.
and they're going to be taking a look at this, and we'll take another look as well. The ball Yeah, pretty clearly bounces. This is going to be an incomplete pass. It's still going to be a punt. Cincinnati's going to get the ball back, even if this, or when this is ruled an incompletion. But that was a really nice call. Cincinnati came with a blitz, and if they're coming with a blitz, that means they're taking guys from the second level and the third level, so your linebackers and safeties, and bringing them towards the quarterback. And when they do that, it means there's less people to block, and you get a screen, and it's perfect. Ball's a little high, ball goes through his hands. Unfortunate for a nice play call, and everything except the catch was nice there by Northwestern State.
There should be a pretty quick review upstairs. It is as we listen in.
After further review, the ball hit the ground before the defender possessed it. It's an incomplete pass, 4th down.
So, Jeff, we were talking about the little areas that Cincinnati wants to fine-tune heading into conference play in a couple of weeks. This is a defense that has not generated a turnover through the first couple of weeks.
They've not generated a turnover, and they've also been on the field for forever. Of the 2 hours of gameplay that they've been on the field prior to this game, they were on the field for 1 hour and 17 minutes, and opponents are converting 47% of their third downs. Those two numbers are bad numbers if you're going to be playing quarterbacks like they'll be playing in the Big 12, but so far they've been good today.
Second time that Evans is punted near his own goal line. This is a returnable kick. Covey, good special teams downfield for Northwestern State. That was Washington, Fernando Washington greeting them. 38-yard punt. Cincinnati, which has dominated field position in this opening quarter. Sorsby, perfect numbers, 3 touchdowns, 5 completions to 5 different receivers.
And we got to shout out the offensive line for Cincinnati as well. This Northwestern State defensive line, especially in tight, they're pretty good. And it's so far, Brendan Sorsby has not had anyone near him, which has enabled him to find those new wide receivers and Joe Royer at tight end.
Sorsby a play fake, has all sorts of time. He will launch, post route, caught for the touchdown. Goody brings it in. They're going to say just shy of the goal line. 1st and goal, 2nd time they've hit Goody on the home run ball.
And that's one of the things they were missing last year, is that was actually pretty tight coverage, and the defensive back may have gotten there even a little bit early, but they need a contested catch guy. And Caleb Goody and both Jeff Caldwell they're capable of doing that. You're going to need to do that to take the top off the defense, back the safeties up. Man, what a play.
Good concentration. Looked like Santa Marina was in a little early with the contact.
First charge, 10 out of the half. Northwestern State, 30 seconds.
Demons will use a timeout, try to regroup. Lane McCorkle in some trouble on the road here in this first quarter. They are taking water in quickly here.
Yeah, and one of the things that Coach McCorkle had said in our meetings is there's a difference between effort and dumb effort. Is running super fast in the wrong direction is still in the wrong direction. And even if you're not going to get the results on the field that you want by keeping them out of the end zone or deflecting the pass, can you be smart and assignment sound so that you are in the right position, or you are learning, or you are able to attack it? And some of this, Northwestern State's been trying hard. It's been effort. It's just not been appropriately spotted effort. And Cincinnati's been able to take advantage.
A lot of continuity with the Northwestern State staff and defensive coordinator Matt Connor in year 2. He followed his coach from Belhaven to Northwestern State. Good job here by the Demons as they blow up the play in the backfield. Nowhere for Pryor to go. Quentin Cook greeting him 3 yards deep.
Yeah, Quentin Cook, Tyler Lewis, and Preston Hickey. They've got 3 big players on the defensive line. And I mentioned just a few seconds ago, this defensive line is actually pretty good, and they were able to force Cincinnati back. This is an area where Cincinnati's going to have to be good. Again, we keep mentioning what's coming up for Cincinnati, and they want to be sharp in these moments. But you're not playing against nobody with Northwestern State's defensive line.
They had a goal line late last week, a goal line stop late in the game against Minnesota, but they won't have it here. Royer has his 2nd touchdown, and Sorsby having himself a day. 4 touchdown passes in this first quarter.
Good. Down here, a lot of times offenses will say, we're at a disadvantage because the back line serves as a 12th defender. But the other part is when you're so close to the end zone, safeties have less margin for error. The safeties in secondary, you're going to watch on this run fake how closed everybody gets with the secondary, the corners and safeties, which means when Joe Royer just sneaks out of the backfield, if you're a count behind, Sorsby is too accurate and Royer is too athletic to be a count behind and led to a wide open touchdown.
The Ohio State to Cincinnati pipeline has been a productive one in recent years, and Joe Royer, one of the perfect examples. He battled injuries at his time with the Buckeyes, but ever since Satterfield brought him in, he has been a difference maker, an all Big 12 performance a year ago. And a university that knows a thing or two about producing some pretty darn good tight ends.
Is that Kels? You pronounce it Kels? Right, I've never seen this guy before. He's never on TV or... No, but Travis Kelce and Joe Royer, I mean, despite the Cincinnati tight end thing, they play actually fairly similarly. Travis Kelce in the NFL with Patrick Mahomes, there are sometimes routes where he just breaks off and goes a different direction because he feels space. Andy Reid gives them that flexibility within the offense. Well, Joe Royer has a similar type of flexibility. They're not the fastest or strongest, but they are the savviest and smartest players. That's the thing that these two Cincinnati tight ends, or former Cincinnati tight ends, have in common, and Joe Royer is one of the best. That's why he's a preseason first-team All-Big 12 tight end.
And you go through the list of names at Cincinnati to work the tight end position. Brett Selleck back in the early 2000s. A lot of good names coming through. Ball loose. Davis got popped, but they're going to say, I believe he was down. Yes, the side judge coming in, the head linesman saying down. And there is an injured Demon down on the turf as well. That's Landry Huddleston, one of their linebackers, shaken up.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because he is one of the kind of emotional leaders of this team. He's a tough guy, he's a physical guy, and being without Huddleston on this defense is going to make an already difficult proposition even tougher.
Good to see the hard-nosed linebacker back up on his feet. He'll make his way to the Demon sideline. Fans making the trip up from the state of Louisiana.
Yeah, there was a fun statement when we were talking with Coach McCorkle about coming up and playing at Minnesota and coming up then playing in Cincinnati. And you get some good Creole food, some jambalaya down there in the south. He said, we're going to go up north, we're going to eat the bland food, we're going to play in front of the bright lights. And you know what? As a Midwesterner, he's not wrong.
He's
not.
That
Louisiana food, man, that's good. That is good down alligator country.
Yeah, they can get something started offensively on first down. Jonathan Thompson swallowing up Burrell.
One of the things that they struggled with last week against Minnesota is that their combination blocks released too late, as they weren't able to get up to the second level. And that's the same case here, as they were hanging too long on the defensive lineman and not getting up to the linebacker. And when you do that, especially with as athletic as Cincinnati's linebackers are, a free runner to a running back, especially in a confined space, is a very difficult thing to do if you're a back.
Keep in mind, no Dante Corleone, as we talked about at the top of the show. He is out, lower body injury. Pressure up the middle, he's hit as he throws, good poise. Now the ball stripped, scrum for the loose ball. Cincinnati thinks they have it, and they do. They get their first takeaway of the season late in this first quarter.
And that was caused just by sheer physicality. You come in with an offensive player, didn't secure the ball as tight as he needed to, and you get somebody coming from depth, and you get two guys that are peanut punching the ball.
There's a catch and a fumble recovered by Cincinnati. First down.
Yeah, that's just peanut punch there.
And it's a guy who knows a thing or two about peanut punch, and Antoine Peak. He was one of the best in the country last year at forced fumbles. His father the all-time greatest at Cincinnati in that statistical category, and he poked it free, and then an opportunistic Thompson able to jump on it. From the 30, they'll stretch it to the right side. Walker into the secondary, stiff arms a defender. Power running from Walker as he takes it down to the 9-yard line, a gain of 22.
When I was watching film of the Cincinnati offense, Taron Tayo, right guard number 77, just jumped off the film. Well, I mentioned how athletic the right side of this offensive line is. He was climbing up to a linebacker and just stuck to him like Velcro, pushed him sideways. These big fellas, when they get out in space, it's really impressive, and we got a stiff arm and a shoulder there. That's how you finish a run.
Tayo in his first season, the transfer out of the MAC, jet sweep. This will be a pass as he shoveled it ahead to Isaiah Johnson, who slips and spins for 6. Looked like he was stood up, but he wiggled away, and another touchdown for Sorsby and company.
Man, if you're Brennan Sorsby, that is the best statistic you can get. You throw the ball a foot, and you get a touchdown out of that when that is 100% Isaiah Johnson. They had a couple lead blockers out in front of him, which enabled him to be able to make those moves. Again, that's a forward pass, so it counts. But you watch number 3 there, Tyree Walker. He's doing a really good job of freeing up his wide receiver, and then the rest of it from the 5-yard in, and that was just a guy looking for the end zone. Cincinnati, very impressive so far on offense.
Rusnak stays perfect. Satterfield's offense takes advantage of the short field. The first takeaway of the year for Veit and the Cincy defense.
Yeah, just how sticky the Cincinnati blockers are is really impressive to me so far. And yes, it's a little bit overmatched personnel-wise, but that's just effort. It's not about technique. It's not about skill level. It's about, do I want to stay glued to this defender? And the wide receivers, tight ends, offensive linemen, running backs, everybody, when they get on a body, they're staying on him. So that's what's made the Cincinnati offense so impressive, in addition to Sorsby being, I don't know, the beneficiary of some good receiving, in addition to his good passing.
Isaiah Johnson, the sophomore out of Fort Walton Beach, Florida. His first catch of the season goes for the touchdown. Cincinnati has been a really good red zone team this year. They stay perfect now, 9 for 9 on this young season, and the fans having one heck of a good time in this opening quarter. Bearcats signaled for by Davis. Third all-time meeting between these two programs. Cincinnati and the Demons last met back in 2013. Bearcats won in a blowout, 66-9, more than a decade ago, and putting on a show in this first quarter, up 35-0.
In a game that's already started like this, the thing you want for both teams is cleanliness and sharpness. Even if the score is lopsided, can I be assignment sound as a player? Can I be assignment sound as a coach, getting my guys in the right spot, even if the score isn't where you want it?
From the 25, a little out pattern, reeled in, and a good gain on first down. Shouldered out of bounds at the 34-yard line goes Cameron Davis. Daniel James, who started last week for the first time in his career for the injured Logan Wilson, in on the stop.
A good ball by Johnson there. You want to throw that ball to the outside of that player. When you're running a route towards the sideline, one of the worst things you can do is throw it on his back hip and not allow him to keep running forward. Hopefully the offense has settled a little bit as nice first down play. This is really the first time they've been ahead of the sticks in any one of their sets of downs.
Out of the pistol, the option. Johnston will keep it, and he will wisely go down, and Northwestern State moves the chains for the first time.
Yeah, two really good decisions by Johnson there. That's an option, and what you're trying to do with an option is make your quarterback kind of a blocker, where I'm running at a defender, and if he picks me, I'm going to give it to my running back. If he picks my running back, I'm going to keep it. You burn a defender when you run the option well. The defender goes to take the running back, he tucks it up inside, and they get their first down of the day.
Inside 2 minutes to go, 1:40 and counting in this opening quarter. From the 41, slow developing play. Penetration right out of the gate that time from Micah Coleman.
Yeah, Coleman did a really nice job. He ducked his shoulder. You don't want to give a square surface to an offensive lineman. I want to give you the top. He's got 4 number 4s on, front, back, shoulder, and shoulder. You want to give one of your shoulder number 4s to the offensive line. It's a smaller target, slipperier, skinnier to hit. Did a nice job of getting skinny between the guard and the tackle, forced himself into the backfield. Myon Hicks didn't have anywhere to go when he got the ball.
Coleman, a great story, coming back from season-ending injury last year, ruptured his Achilles right before the start of the season. They bring a blitz off the edge. Johnston avoids both of them and then able to keep his eyes downfield, and that's Luke Carter, the tight end. And that's why Northwestern State is excited about the future. Plays like that from Abram Johnston.
Yeah, redshirt freshman, so he is still learning this position, especially at this speed. One of the little things that he did really well is keep both hands on the ball. Is when you're in traffic, one of the things you can try and do is take one hand off and stiff arm, or try and duck the ball over top of somebody. 2 hands on the ball towards your chest allows you to cut through the defensive players. Then he kept his shoulders downfield. So far, very good drive for Abram Johnson.
Monte Wheaton had a chance at him on the linebacker blitz. Again, out to the flats they go. Amaz Eugene with the catch on what will be the final play of this first quarter.
That's another good ball. Very good drive so far for Northwestern State.
35 through the first 15 minutes of football, but Northwestern State with their most impressive drive of the day, and it will continue. Spinning away for first down yardage is Myon Hicks, and on to plus territory for the first time.
Yeah, and we were talking about Cincinnati's offense being sticky downfield. Brendan Webb, the wide receiver, number 85, just did a really nice job of sticking to a corner. It's another just straight-up option play. So if you're a fan of 1997 Nebraska football, that's what they're running. It's just burn the defensive player. In this case, defender goes to tackle the quarterback, flip it out to the running back, and Brandon Webb doing a really nice job of staying on the corner to enable that first down.
Just missing the Rathman block from fullback.
Eric Crouch sneaking down the sidelines.
First down from the 35 on a check down, and a good job there with the timing, breaking the play up. Jumping in Christian Harrison.
Little things like that are what a young quarterback is improving on. That back foot needs to be a little more balanced. When I say balanced, it means I don't want to go backwards and shift my weight all the way over and then shift my weight all the way back. It's pop, 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 feet in the ground, ball comes out. That was just a half count late. And against a fast defensive backfield, that's what's going to happen as a pass breakup. If it's a half second earlier, that's a completion.
Questions after last year in the secondary just because of who Cincinnati lost. And they brought in a couple of transfers in Barnes and Harrison, 2 impact players. Offline with the throw, trying to find Ty Moore, who had settled in underneath.
It's another one of those just early season shaking it out things. There's an expression, run versus man, sit versus zone. Run versus man coverage. If you got somebody with you on a route like that, I'm going to take them all the way across the field. If it's zone coverage like it was on that play, I need to sit down between players. Ty Moore had one thought of where that in-between space was, and Abram Johnson had a different thought of where that was. Those little things, they get ironed out before you get into conference, and you'll be able to learn from that film and say, here's where we want to be on this play next time.
Cincinnati going a little bit deeper on that defensive line. Third down, Johnston kept it, and it's a big loss, a tackle for loss back at the 41 from Marquez Parker. White, McLean, couple of reserves getting some early looks with this lopsided score.
Yeah, and we had said, we're talking about the reserves on Cincinnati. That was a misread by Johnson there. It's a different type of option. Instead of running at a defensive end, I'm waiting for the defensive end to come to me. If he goes to tackle me, I give to the running back. Had he given that ball off, it's a 5-6 yard gain. Break a tackle, it's more. So a couple early good reads, and that one was a bit of a misread on his own.
Evans high into the air, and this one out of bounds, and not what Cooper Evans had in mind. It will be the worst starting shape of the afternoon for Cincinnati. They'll have it at the 20 when we come back.
Montgomery, 17 yards. Bearcats fans, turn your eyes to the video board and take a look at what your former Bearcats fans, don't miss the NFL starts tomorrow right here at the stadium. Single game tickets for upcoming UC football matchups are on sale now. The seats are going fast. Secure your spot to see the future clubs in action. Call 1-877-CATS-TICKS or visit GoBearcats.com today.
As we come back onto the field, Gavin Gerhardt, we were highlighting, and he is a star at the offensive line.
First down throw and catch, Cyrus Allen. SEC receiver now in the Big 12, 12 yards, run after catch.
So Gerhardt, he's made 39 starts now at Cincinnati, and when we were talking to the Cincinnati staff, they were saying who's the backup? He's been such a stalwart. They don't know who's going to be there. And, you know, when we were talking with offensive coordinator Brad Glenn, we talked about a center being the drummer of the band.
Near side throw and catch. This is Caldwell, his second reception. Sorsby taking what this Demon secondary giving, 13 more yards.
And the drummer gets everybody in position. He guides everybody, makes sure everybody's in the right spot. But every once in a while, you get a drummer that's so good they can start singing. And they add such a different dynamic to what this offense is. And Gavin Gerhardt is that guy. And he brought up Don Henley as his favorite drum and singer.
It's a real good pick. Cyrus Allen will not go down. Finally hit high as he falls ahead into plus territory.
And a Phil Collins reference as well, and a Dave Grohl reference. But we're watching Cyrus Allen so far in this drive. They want to get him out in space and let that speed go to town. He's done a nice job of breaking tackles when they have gotten him out in space. Cincinnati offense is very balanced so far.
Second down from the 49. Sorsby locked in. Noah Jennings, his first catch of the afternoon. The transfer from Charleston Southern. This will move the chains and a first down. And Jeff, you go back to this offensive line. DeAndre Buford now in at right tackle. They're trying to build some depth. Ethan Green played a lot last week at the tackle position. They're working in Xavier Lazawicki at the guard. They want to get that depth up to 7-8 guys.
Yeah, and offensive line's a position, it's the only position on the field that never looks at the ball. So they don't know where they're going to get rolled up on or perhaps hit, and so you have a lot of injuries on the offensive line. If you don't build depth with good reps early in the year, when that does happen and someone gets rolled up and sprains an ankle, you don't want to be getting the short straw with an inexperienced guy. So they're trying to work more bodies in, even in these early 2 weeks when they're playing higher level competition.
Joe Cotton, who they brought in late in the transfer portal from South Dakota, anchoring the left side of Sorsby's offensive line. Speaking of the left side, little drag route from Royer, the tight end, but it was shadowed nicely. A pair of defenders highlighted by the linebacker Fernando Washington.
Yeah, Fernando Washington's a guy that the Northwestern State coaching staff talked about, just lights up a room whenever he comes in there. He's the juice guy. He's the energy for this defense, and nice job of buddy tackling. One guy on one hip, another guy on the other hip. Even somebody as talented as Royer couldn't break that tackle.
Third down and short. They will hand it off. Pryor through a little crevice. He will slip away and pick up the first down. Helmet comes off of one of the defenders as well, but a first down run for Evan Pryor. FCS making a smooth transition here along the banks of the Ohio. Caldwell, they brought in from Lindenwood, the All-American. He's a giant, 6'5". They call him a freak of nature with his athleticism. And then Joe Cotton rolling in from Vermillion, South Dakota, where he was a 3-year starter for the Coyotes and an All-American as well.
And he's a winner. I mean, South Dakota was a quarterfinalist last year, so you got to learn how to win to skill, just like any other.
Sorsby makes Washington miss. He's inside the 5 for the touchdown. 22 yards, Brendan Sorsby.
Just as I say the word skill, Brendan Sorsby shows off his. That is what last year Brendan Sorsby relied on this too much. He became too much of a runner. He was too uneasy in the pocket. Well, you still want to do that. Just don't do it too much. He didn't see anybody downfield that was open. He decided to tuck it and run, and you don't get a clean shot on the guy. That's the thing that's impressive when you watch Sorsby on film. Not only is he fast, but he is able to move his body in a way that doesn't allow a clean shot by a defender. So if he gets tackled, you're going to have to really wrestle him down. Brendan Sorsby, impressive so far.
He put in a lot of work on his body this offseason, really put some focus on strength, cleaned up his diet, shared a lot of suffering on some early morning workouts with the strength and conditioning coordinator, Nico Palizzetti. It's all work today. Sorsby with his legs adds to the total. Cincinnati putting together their longest drive of the afternoon. 8 plays, 80 yards. Brendan Sorsby with the touchdown run. 22-yard scamper from Sorsby, who's had himself a first half. He's been perfect. 13 of 13, 212 yards, 5 touchdowns through the air, and he added the last 6 with his legs.
That's a heck of a day in fantasy football. If there was a college fantasy team, this is one that you'd want on today.
Putting together back-to-back solid weeks of production after the Nebraska game, where they just could not get the downfield passing attack established against what's turned out to be a pretty good black shirt unit in Lincoln. Northwestern State from the 25, Matt Gower, the freshman tight end. They switch him to the left. They run the opposite way, and the pursuit continues to be there for defensive coordinator Tyson Veit.
Yeah, Tyson Veit, as we talk about this Cincinnati defense, in the meeting that we had with him, he had a great quote because there are so many good quarterbacks in this conference. He said, if you look too far down the road, you're going to need a straitjacket. You look at their next 7 games, the quarterbacks they're going to play amongst those 7, Rocco Becht, Jalen Daniels, Sawyer Robertson, Devin Dampier, and Noah Fafita. There is no easy week in this conference, so they're going to get a lot of their secondary guys and their linebackers and hopefully get Dante Corleone healthy to put some pressure on those, but this is not an easy road if you're a Big 12 defensive coordinator.
Really has established into a Premier League at the quarterback spot. Throw off line. He was looking for Carter. Carter heard the footsteps of Matthew McDoom. The Godfather not in uniform today. He is out with a lower leg injury on the scooter, the All-American, and really the building block of this team, not just on defense, but the entire squad.
Yeah, and you know, we kind of mentioned it at the top. In baseball, you want your catcher, your shortstop, and your center fielder to be strong, and then you kind of hang the rest of your defense off of that. This defense, this 3-3-5, it's the same way. D-tackle, middle linebacker, middle safety. And that defensive tackle, I mean, he is as good as it gets, and they'll need him healthy to make a Big 12 run.
Work to do for Burrell, and he is torpedoed down. Logan Wilson back healthy after missing last week. The 7th-year senior tackle in space, and the punting unit out one more time.
Yeah, good to see Wilson back on the field. He's an aggressive player. He's definitely a physical player. 5'9", 180. He's not the biggest guy, but don't tell him that, because he's got the you know, the old, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog, and that dog has some fight in him. And when you play corner against the big, strong wide receivers they have in practice, you're going to translate that to the field.
They moved Wilson back to his original spot at cornerback right before spring. He had played safety last year before the injury and then the year prior, but you go back to his early days, both with Kansas State and North Texas, primarily a corner. So he's happy to be back in his old spot. Cincinnati working on the shutout. They lead it 42-0 over Northwestern State.
As the Cincinnati offense takes the field, there's been some shuffling on the offensive line, trying to keep Gavin Gerhardt healthy and making sure they're good. And you can see on the bottom side, number 50, Evan Tengesdal. This offensive line, they're trying to find who are the best players that they can get their best 5. And you go from left to right, you go redshirt junior and redshirt senior at center, redshirt junior at right guard, redshirt senior at right tackle. And Tengesdal is the only underclassman. He's the number 50. He's now moved over to right guard, but they're trying to shore that up. And he really grew up last week against Bowling Green and had a strong second half. And they're trying to keep him in the game, switching him from left to right guard as Tarantayo moves over to center.
Sorsby continues to have plenty of time because of the offensive line. Up to the 49-yard line. Mark him down at the 48. So this offensive line mixing things up. Gerhardt out of there. You mentioned Tayo moving from guard to center. Big pancake block by the tight end Royer on the edge. That frees the corner for Walker. There is a flag down along the Northwestern State sideline.
Holding. Offense number 79. 10-yard penalty. Still first down. That's
Ethan Green, who's in a pretty good battle with DeAndre Buford for the starting right tackle spot.
Yeah, the offensive line, a couple things about it. One, having someone move from guard to center, to continue the music metaphor, it's having a bassist now play drummer. It's a new instrument. It's a new thing, because the center's responsibility is coordinate who's blocking what based on where the defense comes out. Because when you break the huddle, you don't know where they're going to be lined up. So knowing the entire offense is super important, and it's really rare for a guard to be able to just shift into center. So these are very important reps as we highlight a center as he false starts.
False start. 77. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
It's pretty impressive, the false start, when you're the one snapping the ball, too. But no, Tayo he's a really physical player, but being able to then shift him in so the offense doesn't miss a beat, that it is very important to not throw your season off with one sprained ankle.
On the slant, Caldwell with the catch, stays on his feet, then he is popped as he spun back to the center of the field. Throw and catch up to the 32, and it's a gain of 29.
And that thing was right on the money. One of the phrases that you'll hear with quarterback play is on the body, on the break, is as soon as he makes his cut, you want to put it right between his chin strap and his number. And that was exactly where that ball was. Independent of protection and coverage, that's a really nice ball from Brendan Sorsby.
Wipes out the penalty, and now a gaping hole over the right side for Walker, who finishes the run. Initiating the contact with the safety, Colby Cage, and they are back in the red zone where they have been perfect this season.
Yeah, and Tengesdal, the right guard, moving over from left to right, did a nice job of washing everything down, and then Walker did a really good job of seeing that and making a cutback to open space.
First down from the 15, Walker untouched, makes a move to the 5, trying to power his way, kept the legs churning, touchdown, Tawee Walker, not to be denied.
That is a weight room touchdown. The pace that he ran with on that was looking for contact. He was waiting to see where Jeff Caldwell was going to take his block and where the defender was going to shift around. So Caldwell locks on his guy. Are you going to be pushing left or right? You know what? You come off, I'm going to put my hand right in your neck and go right into the end zone. That is a physical play. The Cincinnati staff wanted to see who separates themselves in this running back room. And it looks like 6 and 3, Pryor and Walker, are wanting to take that job and say, give me the carries, let me be the guy.
Santa Marina on the wrong end of that last exchange with Walker. A running back room that clearly Satterfield was not happy with after the performance last week against Bowling Green. Walker's numbers today, but I mean, you could throw a dart up at the dartboard. They're all having these type of productive numbers in this first half.
Yeah, and when we were talking to Coach Satterfield, really the rest of the offensive staff is, on offense, a quarterback is one player, a running back or the ball carrier is another, which means there's only 9 guys that can block. There's 11 guys on defense, which means there's some that you can't. there is an open player that you have to make miss. And the running backs get graded, good or bad, on if they made that guy miss. And there were 7 different opportunities against Bowling Green where they blocked it perfectly, and the running back didn't make that one defender miss. They didn't extend the play, and a big play was stopped by just getting and not doing your job. And that's the challenge they gave this running back room is, can you finish runs? We can't block them all. Can you take care of the rest? So far, a resounding yes from that running back room.
Yeah, they rushed for 202 against Nebraska at Arrowhead Stadium, but their leading rusher that night was Sorsby. And then last week with Bowling Green, just 106 yards on the ground, averaging only 3.5 yards per carry, but different numbers today. Sorsby, 15 of 15, 253 through the air. He's added that rushing touchdown as well. Walker a few moments ago, adding to the total. And a new quarterback making his way out is Eli Anderson, the senior who they brought in this offseason. But Mississippi College, Anderson able to get some late reps last week in the loss at Minnesota. He will hand it off to Hicks, outside left tackle, up to the 28, a gain of 3.
Yeah, the Cincinnati defense has come back on the field as there is that quarterback change. And Jake Golday, he's normally the out-of-the-box player. He's normally out in space, but because he's so big and physical, they can move him in. That's one of the things that Tyson Veit talked about is the learning curve going from being a defensive end to a linebacker, or really a linebacker in a 4-down look versus this unique front. Your keys are different, your eyes are different. He's doing a really nice job of adjusting to that inside linebacker position, which is foreign to him so far this season.
Having the flat passes reeled in by Joseph Moreland, hit immediately by McDoom. Jeff, you go back to Golday, and the linebacker still learning that position, as you talked about. They brought him in from Central Arkansas, where for a good part of his career, even into his high school days, he was a hand-in-the-dirt type player on that line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and you put him back there. I think when you look at this defense, there's only 3 down linemen, and what does that mean for a linebacker? Well, there's 5 offensive linemen. You're likely to keep getting linemen in your face, because what some people don't realize about defensive linemen, they're trying to block for their linebackers. Well, you got less blockers, so you got to play in space. So the size that he has lends itself really well to the position that he's playing right now.
3rd down, Anderson moving the pocket and trying to jump the lane. Really no angle to sneak the ball through. He was looking for Eugene. Logan Wilson draped all over him, and Eli Anderson in his first series operating this offense, a quick 3 and out.
It's a really nice job by Cincinnati's defense. That's what's called a levels concept, where you got somebody short, somebody in the middle at like 10 to 12 yards, and somebody deep, all running to the sideline. You're banking on someone getting lost in the shuffle there. But Cincinnati had the deep, intermediate, and short guys covered. Anderson didn't really have anywhere to go with it, had to throw it out of bounds.
7th punt of the first half for Cooper Evans. Does a nice job here keeping the ball away from Covey. And the Demons will let it come to a stop. And now a flag is tossed. They were jockeying along the near sideline. 40-yard punt right now for Evans. And a flag, probably tack on 15 here as the officials come together. It's been a busy first half of the Big 12 crew.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 33, the kicking team. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Frustrating first half, and those emotions coming out for Huddleston.
Yeah, Huddleston, he was hurt a little bit earlier in the game, was able to come back, and you get to a game 49-0. I mean, I played in a game, we played at Baylor, and when Baylor was clicking on offense, we got beat 72-6. So I've been on the other side of this, and it is frustrating because you feel like your effort doesn't match the result. But you got to keep those things in check a little bit as we get to see a new quarterback for Cincinnati.
Brady Lichtenberg comes out. The 5th-year senior has stayed with this program. Loyal to the Bearcats, 6 feet 1 inches tall, 200 pounds, grew up in Toledo, St. John's Jesuit. His show now for the remainder of this first half, and he will hand it off. Cut back lane for Pryor, Evan Pryor. Taken down Pickup of 3 as he was hit up around the pads from Jamarian Bonner.
Understanding as a running back, as new quarterback comes in, defense is going to be a little more aggressive towards you. Don't try and make a 2-yard play into a 10-yard play, because what happened there is he turned a 5-yard play into a 3-yard play by trying to make too much of a bounce back.
First throw of the season for Lichtenberg offline. Brady Lichtenberg, a commit under former head coach Luke Fickell. He redshirted year 1. That's when they had Desmond Ritter. And then he was a backup to Ben Bryant, which started the theme for Cincinnati of bringing in transfer quarterbacks. He had quarterbacks come through the portal in 23. They brought Emory Jones, and then last year from Indiana, it was Sorsby. Trying to set up the middle screen off the fingertips of Johnson. And for the first time today, the Demons are going to force a Cincinnati punt.
Yeah, and really, when you bring a backup quarterback in and the offense totally changes, that highlights how sharp the starting quarterback is. That was just the second down pass a little bit wide, a little bit low. The third down pass a little bit late, a little bit high. The margins, even though this game is 49-0, you're still playing a team that has some guys. And that lack of sharpness at quarterback really, again, highlights how good Brendan Sorsby was about being razor sharp with his reads.
Max Fletcher taking a look at where he wants to punt this one. Decides to go with a little muscle, and it is handled beautifully. Right over the top into the breadbasket. McDoom with his top-rate speed. 48 yards of the punt. There is a flag down, though, along the Northwestern State sideline.
It's actually a second flag. There's two, looks like two different holdings. Not sure which team they're going to be called on.
Terrific job by Fletcher getting enough air on that punt and then letting McDoom fly downfield.
Fouls on the play, both committed by the defense. Hold during the return, during the kick, number 14, and penalties decline. Personal foul, illegal hands to the face, number 13. Penalty enforced, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Now, interesting little nugget about the wording there. He mentioned there's a holding during the kick and holding during the return. One of the things that's interesting about the enforcement
The hold was on number 4. Number 4.
If the hold is during the kick and they say it would be enforced at the end of the kick, then wherever the returner catches it, they mark the foul back from there, because what they're saying is that the coverage guy didn't have the chance to actually go down and get it, so the return wouldn't have happened without that hold. Versus if they say during the return, then that means the returner already had the ball and the hold happened there, so that gets enforced at the end of the play. So if they say during the kick, that means the end of the kick. Regardless of what the return does, they enforce the penalty, whereas a personal foul is just the end of the play. It goes half the distance to the goal either way.
Second offensive series for Anderson. His heels on the back of his own goal line, and it looks like he might be changing up this play. Plenty of time on the play clock. 3:12 to go in this first half, and they will hand the ball off. Testing the waters over the right side. A yard or two for Hicks. Brian Sims the tackle.
And this defense, you think there's space where there's not. Because there's only 3 defensive linemen and 3 linebackers, especially when you've got heavy personnel with a lot of tight ends and a lot of bodies tight, you think, there's room over here. But because of how aggressively downhill the safeties play, and Colby Cage was one of those guys that was aggressive in that last play, it closes down so fast that you don't necessarily process how much they do that. So you think there's space where there's not.
4-man front on second down. Burrell popped, and he is dropped. C.J. McCray met him along with Simeon Coleman.
That's another case of that where you think that there's space. You make that cutback as a running back, pre-snap, there is open grass to my left, but everything just disappears because of the coaching that they have. Your alley players, your Sam linebacker, your nickel, the safeties, they're taught that if the ball is handed off, you then got to go down and tackle immediately.
2-minute timeout.
We hit the 2-minute timeout. 3rd and 8 for Anderson and the Demons. A long way from home here in Cincinnati. Coming up at the half, Pete Souza, Taylor McCard taking a look inside the Big 12 this week as they recap Baylor quarterback Sawyer Robertson's monster day against SMU last week. It's all inside the Big 12 coming up at the half. Just moving the pile ahead after the 2-minute timeout. Northwestern State looking at 4th down. They will send out the punting unit one more time.
Yeah, a run on that play does a couple things too. 49-0. You need to regroup everybody. Get them. I mean, they're seeing ghosts. They're playing faster than they need to. Get to halftime, make your adjustments. But it also then buys your punter a little bit more room to hopefully get the ball off rather than having to try and rush one out of your tight punt set.
Looks like Cincinnati might be coming after this one. They do not. They're going to set up the return for Covey. Covey will reel it in at the 42. Another flag is thrown as Covey runs it straight up ahead. Return of 7 yards up at the 36 following the punt of 34 yards. The flag thrown at the line of scrimmage.
Holding, return team number 17. 10 yards from the spot the ball was caught or possessed. First down.
And there it is. During the kick is the phrasing that would have been used there, but it's marked from the spot where the returner caught the ball, not from the end of the return. That's because, again, imagining if that hold didn't exist, the returner would be able to be there, possibly force a fair catch. So that's why the enforcement there is during the kick or during the return. Fun facts.
If you're just joining us, Cincinnati has put up close to 400 yards of offense in this first half. 396. It's been a balanced attack. 253 through the air, 143 on the ground. Sorsby did not throw an incomplete pass in his action. Perfect 15 of 15 for 253. Added a rushing touchdown. Walker has a rushing score as well. A defense that has created their first turnover of the year. And now Lichtenberg with his second offensive series. Get the ball to Noah Jennings, but good job cutting in at the angle for Northwestern State and their safety Cage.
Yeah, and that's better timing there by Lichtenberg. Back foot hits the ground, ball has to come out, especially on a timing route like a screen where your big boys are getting out in front. That ball can't be too early or too late. Better timing even if the play only gained 3 yards.
Cincinnati with all 3 of their timeouts. Clean pocket, all sorts of room to run. Lichtenberg spots it. He'll take off, bounce off a couple of shoulder tackles. Finally brought down at the 29. 21 yards on the run by Lichtenberg. Clock will stop as they move the chains, and now Cincinnati will use the first of their 3 timeouts.
Cincinnati, 30 seconds.
And situations like this are really big for both teams. Really, Cincinnati, I would say this drive is bigger for because, again, football's a game where injuries happen. You hate to see them happen at any position, but really, your center and your quarterback, if one of those 2 guys gets hurt, you don't want your season completely derailed. So if you have to go in, if Lichtenberg has to play in critical moments, he's had practice in a 2-minute drill against somebody. So it's not that you're just going in practice and playing against, well, I know that my corner jumps this route so I can hold XYZ. You're playing against people that you don't know. So this 2-minute drill in a game that's been far gone, it's still important for the rest of Cincinnati's season in the possibility that something happens where your quarterback has to be subbed out for.
The story of Lichtenberg really is a refreshing one in this modern era of football. He said the heart always said to commit to a school, not a coach, and that's why he has persevered at Cincinnati. Now he'll launch toward the end zone. Perfectly thrown ball. Touchdown, Cyrus Allen.
Man, that's for a kid like that who has gone through the adversity and bringing guys in to sub out, getting people in front of him and transfers to stick at a university and then get to deliver a beautiful ball in front of the home crowd. He's going to remember that for a while. I mean, this is waiting for the receiver to get open, delivering it exactly to where the pylon was. When you're running a corner route, you want to throw it and flatten your receiver out so he can come back to the ball. It's a really nicely thrown ball. Really good job by Cyrus Allen to get in the end zone. And you feel good for the kid to get some points on the board, throw a touchdown pass to a university that he clearly loves. Yeah, the number 3 receiver, you see number 4, he fakes a little bit to the inside just to freeze the safety for a second. And then if you're Lichtenberg, that ball has to be thrown outside. If that's short or inside, either one of those allows a defender to come back. But that ball was, talk about on the body, on the break. That ball was released before he made his cut. Ball floated up in the air, allowed Allen to run underneath it. Really well executed there. That drive, they made the adjustment from the first drive that Lichtenberg had, which the ball was a little late, a little wide, not quite as crisp. Better timing on the screen play, better decision to run the ball. Nice job there delivering the ball in an accurate position, flatten the receiver out. 2 for 4 today, 32 yards, and that 1 touchdown for his Cincinnati Bearcats.
Young man who has always put the team first as far as the team needs, and he's always built such a strong relationships with the quarterbacks that he has competed against for the starting gig at Cincinnati. He was the roommate to Emory Jones when they brought him in from Florida. He has built a wonderful relationship with Brendan Sorsby, and that one had to feel real good for Brady Lichtenberg.
Yeah, it makes you feel, I mean, in games like this, the best thing that can happen is you get to reward the guys that work hard, but just might not see the field as much as they otherwise could. Brady Lichtenberg is everything you want in a football player, but Brendan Sorsby's just really good. And there's only one quarterback that can play on the field at any given time. When you have somebody like that in front of you, you kind of get the short straw, but it's really fun to see guys like that get their opportunity and harvest it for some points, touchdowns, and memories for his family to share.
Northwestern State will just take a knee, and they will look to regroup in the locker room. A tough first half for the heavy underdog on the road. Blaine McCorkle, back-to-back weeks on the road at Power 4 campuses. And last week they took
in your guys that haven't played much, but you also want to keep everybody healthy and find a way to take some positives out, but not get anybody in harm's way. So good decision to shorten the game up just a little bit to make sure you get experience from everyone.
Northwestern State offense that produced only 45 yards of offense. We saw both of their quarterbacks, Abram Johnston, started the game, and then it was Eli Anderson in the second quarter, and it looks like it will be Anderson to get the first series here in quarter 3. 45 yards of total offense for the Demons, still struggling on third downs. Whopping 449 yards of offense for Cincinnati. Who punted only once in the first half. From the 25, the option has been the play that has worked the best, and Eli Anderson tripped up as he falls ahead for 2.
Yeah, when the Cincinnati starters have been on the field, they were exceptionally sharp. And, you know, we talked about Brendan Sorsby and we talked about Royer, but defensively is the same thing. Northwestern State had some opportunities here or there, but they were a little off, a little late, a little wide. And when you're playing a team that you're outmatched by, those little misses become big misses, and that's how you end up in a game like this.
And as we watch this defense, again, no Dante Corleone, out with a lower leg injury. What's the adjustment? We saw a lot of Burns, Rogers, those backup nose tackles, a zero technique in this 3-3-5 system.
Yeah, you still have to occupy the same space. Even though it might not be the same guy that's occupying that space, you got to keep your linebackers clean. So they've tooled around with moving Jalen Hunt from defensive end to that nose position. They've brought in Isaiah Rogers. Kamari Burns has played a little bit. They're just trying to find somebody who can put something on film that makes the coaching staff feel comfortable if Corleone is not able to go in 1 or 2 or more of the games in the Big 12 slate.
Good news for Cincinnati. They have a bye next week before they start Big 12 play. Trying to slow down Kansas. That game in Lawrence in 2 weeks. Third down, 0 for 7 today, and they're going to be 0 for 8. There is nowhere to go. Gang tackling by the Bearcats. A lot of their reserves in. Up front, Rob Jackson, one of the down tackles. First one to greet him, and a punting situation for the visitors from Louisiana.
Yeah, and penetration kills a run game. If you have guys in the backfield, whether your blocks are trying to get to the next level or the ball carrier is trying to get started, when there's somebody in the way, everything gets thrown off. So it's a nice job by Cincinnati's defense. And Northwestern State, now if you're in this position, as it looks like there's some substitution issues for Cincinnati.
Able to get that last guy onto the field in the nick of time. Evans, end over and kick. Bounces away from Covey, takes a horizontal bounce directly across the field, and will come to rest at the 30. It's a punt of 41 yards.
Yeah, in these environments, in this situation, and you're Northwestern State again, I've been on both the good side of this game and the bad side of this game in my playing career. And the challenge here is, who are you? What do you stand for? The game's over. It's 56-0. It's a loss. But who are you? Are you going to continue to fight? Are you going to jog? Are you going to pout? Are you going to behave like you're not doing anything? Brady Lichtenberg has come in when he's had his chance, slang the ball around, has gotten better from drive to drive. But if you're Northwestern State, who are you? Are you going to fight or are you going to roll over?
Running to the field side with a lot of success. Covey spins his way to plus territory. Pushed out of bounds at the 46. That's a run of 24 yards for Manny Covey.
Yeah, nice job there by the front side of that offensive line and tight ends, being able to get a seal. It was good pursuit on the backside, just wasn't quite able to bring him down. But Manny Covey is looking like he's kind of being that odd man out with as they try and find that 1 or 2 top dogs. So he's got a lot to prove in this second half as well.
Back-to-back calls to number 29, Covey. Snowed under at the 40. Covey had his moment last year. Corey Kiner, a terrific running back that Cincinnati had. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He got dinged up midway through the season, so Covey actually stepped up, and he had a huge game against Texas Tech. They really used him as a receiver out of the backfield. 6 catches, 100 yards, a couple of touchdowns against the Red Raiders. Good scat back potential, very, very elusive. Lichtenberg gets rid of it quickly, a strike and a first down. Carrying bodies up to the 32. Move the chains, a Bearcat first down.
Yeah, when I said, who are you and what are you going to fight for? Preston Hickey's a nose guard. He's number 94. You see him right there on your screen. He was on the center and he was involved in the tackle on a wide receiver outside the numbers. That's the kind of stuff when you look at film and you're Coach McCorkle and you put it on and say, that's the type of effort we want to see. Yes, the game is over, but that guy's fighting. Really nice job by Preston Hickey there.
He has played a lot of football starting his playing days at LSU. Look at the vision here by Covey. Knifing his way through would-be defenders, and he picks up 9.
I like the patience and tempo. And again, this moment doesn't, for a lot of fans, you're watching this game, it's 56-0, but for these players, especially the ones that are on the field for Cincinnati, it means a lot to them because they work just as hard as the starters do, and they want to get the opportunity to do it. We highlighted Brady Lichtenberg in the first half, and now we're looking at Manny Covey, and being able to get on the field and show what you've got. That's how you get your chance to be on the field in meaningful snaps.
Johnson, who has a touchdown catch, goes in motion. They run to the boundary side with Covey. He'll pick up the first down. Danny Sears brings him down. Sears, the redshirt junior, St. Paul High School product, and this is a family lineage when you look at the success at Northwestern State and the Sears family.
Yeah, his dad is a player. His dad's a coach. He's a coach on the field. He's the green dot for the Northwestern State defense, and he's the one getting everybody in the spot. As you get into conference play and the talent evens out a little bit, he's going to have a bunch of tackles and a big part of this defense having success in the league.
Lichtenberg off his back foot. This is Patrick Gerd, the transfer from Ohio State, shedding 1, carrying a 2nd, and he is thrown out of bounds, and Cincinnati will have it 1st and goal. Gerd tossed out at the 4.
Yeah, you see 6'4", 250 coming at you. You might not want to hit him in the hip. You're going to watch a Northwestern State defender fly in front of him. There's a good change of direction there by Gerd, but also when you outsize a guy, it's hard to bring him down. Really nice job there by Gerd of switching up his tempo, letting somebody fly by, and then being a 6'4", 250 strong dude dragging defenders.
We talked about all the former Buckeyes, now Bearcats. Quite a crew when you look at Royer, Gerd, Stokes on the defensive side of the football. They were all teammates at Ohio State. Chance Williams is checked into the game, and his first touch into the end zone. Touchdown, Bearcats.
Just a simple inside zone play, and this is a really nice job of understanding what the play needs. I'm not trying to bust it back or bounce it out the front side. I know that even if it's not a super giant opening, I'm just going to follow the pocket. And then when you're looking on the goal line, you're not looking for openings. You're looking for tiny, tiny little slivers of space. That was a little bigger than a sliver, but not quite a hole. And he managed to follow his tight end and lineman into the end zone. Good tempo, good pace, understand the situation.
Williams got a late look last week in the win against Bowling Green. The transfer from Grambling. Cincinnati in the shortened quarters here in the second half. Up the ante. Each team has had it once in this third quarter. Cincinnati, 7 plays, 70 yards. Chance Williams, the short touchdown run. Shortened quarters in this second half. The two teams agreeing at halftime to play 2 10-minute quarters as the kick goes into the end zone for the touchback. Jeff Woody, low man always wins, whether you're in a bubble or on the football field. Don't leave your feet, young man.
Keep your feet on the ground. 63-0 Cincinnati.
Northwestern State on first down. It will be Colby Burrell over the left side. 4 yards for Burrell, the graduate student. His 4th year with this program. Started his career at Buffalo, part of a trio of running backs that, much like Cincinnati, they have a number of different weapons they can go to. The combination of Hicks and Burrell, Zay Davis. They have some weapons offensively, and they're hoping these last 2 weeks will lead to some results once they jump back into FCS competition. Second down, carrying out the option and getting hit hard, falling ahead for 3 yards goes Eli Anderson.
On the option keeper.
Good choice there. I mean, the option play works against this defense if you're okay taking 3 or 4 yards. If you try and make 3 or 4 into 20, then that's where a pitch goes awry or you end up getting a TFL because you try and make too much of a move. This defense dares you to be patient. So 3rd and 2 is a down you're going to be in a lot against this defense. Can you still execute? Not try and get 50, just try and get 2.5. That's all you need in this type of down.
Eli Anderson listening to the communication from the sideline. This is a new feature at the FCS level this year. We saw it at FBS, a sideline to player communication. Flag is thrown late. This will be very close to a first down for Burrell, but again, some laundry on the turf.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 92, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Elijah Gunn getting that hand up where it shouldn't have been.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to fight off a block, and he's trying to reach and get the ball carrier, and it just happens instead of grabbing the arm and the wrist, he grabs the face. And really, I mean, the little tiny bar, big hands, even if you just run into it, your hand will just naturally grasp it. Unlucky, but necessary to be called because that is a dangerous play.
What a pretty good afternoon for Cincinnati as far as the penalties go. .22 to go in this third quarter. Burrell getting the majority of the carries on this drive. I thought, Jeff, you brought up a good question to Coach Satterfield earlier in the week on our conference call. And you know, what's a win in this situation? You're a heavy favorite. What are you looking for in a game like this besides getting the obvious W? Is this a game that you need to win 63-0, or like a year ago when Towson came here and it was a 38-20 game, and he said, we're going to focus on our team, improve what we have struggled with the last couple of weeks, and if we do that, it's a victory no matter what the scoreboard says.
Yeah, we want to be clean as we're looking at Joseph Moreland moving everything. It appears that the training staff is out here. But back to the point about Satterfield, and really both of these teams, but Satterfield in specifics, was talking about just a clean game. I mean, what do we do offensively? We're going to run our base offense, and can we be sharp? And then defensively, can we get off the field? Can we execute on third down? Can we be gap sound? They're without two of their star players, but you still want to say, put on film what you are. You know, that's kind of the old adage, is you are what you put on film. And in order to gain more snaps, in order to gain more trust in the both offense and defense to get you on the field, you got to play clean. There's defensive coordinator Tyson Veit, again, both just stressing, can we execute? Faceless, nameless opponent, whether you're better than or worse than, can we execute our offense and defense? And I think the scoreboard indicates the answer is a resounding yes.
Tyson Veit, year 2 of bringing his 3-3-5 system after establishing it at Iowa State for 8 years. Look at the new star here at Nippert. A little bagpipe action.
The loudest cheer we've heard in about 20 minutes.
From bubbles to bagpipes on a Saturday afternoon. Here's tough running by Burrell. You love to see this from the 205-pounder not going down after initial contact.
Yeah, and like I was saying with that option play, this is really what the defense is designed to allow. And so, yes, you're going to field fast from the second level, but if you're a running back and you can stay behind your pads, you can hit a guy and drag him for 2 yards. Well, if that happens 2 yards down the field, it's a 4-yard play. 4 yards on every single down gets you a touchdown on every drive. So if they can do that, that's the type of thing that the Cincinnati defense can give up, and that's the moral and mental victories, as no coach really wants to hear, that you can take from this offense.
Third down and 2, third straight carry for Burrell, and he'll have the first down. Stretching the ball up ahead. Doesn't get a real good spot, however. It looked like it stretched the ball far enough to advance, and they're going to mark him just short. Oh boy, not catching a break on that spot is Northwestern State.
Yeah, it's a bad spot, especially because you don't have beef on the offensive line. So this isn't one of those, it's fourth and short. Do the old Jason Kelsey tush push and get yourself a first down. Not against a team that's bigger and stronger than you. This does take a little bit more skill about calling the play to get this first down.
3 new linebackers into the game for Cincinnati. Fourth down and short. They pull a couple of linemen trying to get to the outside. Hicks able to high step his way, and he will pick up the first down this time.
Yeah, Coach McCorkle's got to be happy with that, of understanding that, of discovering that his guys understand what they need to do. Hicks doing a good job of keeping his pads down, breaking through contact. You got to know to the blade of grass where that first down marker is and where you have to get it. If in short yardage, it doesn't matter how it happens as long as you get the first down.
A 10-minute quarter goes by quickly. Cincinnati Week 3 of the college football season as we welcome you back to Nippert Stadium here along the banks of the Ohio as we start the fourth quarter alongside former Iowa State running back Jeff Woody, Sean Kinney, a day that has saw Cincinnati put up over 500 yards of offense. They jumped out to a 35-0 lead after the first quarter. Brendan Sorsby, 5 first-half touchdown passes. He rushed for another. And it's been the backups in this second half along with condensed quarters, 2 10-minute quarters in this second half.
Yeah, and if you're a Cincinnati Bearcat, again, other than the score, you have to be really happy with how the score happened. Your wide receivers played well. Your passing game was good. You had a couple running backs step up, shoulder the load, and in some case, literally shoulder the load, but like there was a couple touchdowns just plowed into. So really nice job by the Cincinnati offense as Northwestern State looks to keep their best drive of the day moving.
Trying to run the shovel to the tight end Gower. Does not fool the Bearcat defense. 3rd and short. A day in which both quarterbacks have played for Northwestern State. Abram Johnston, starter, the redshirt freshman. Eli Anderson, the player they brought in via the portal. He has been the guy really since midway through the second quarter. 3rd down and short. Power football up the middle with the big back Hicks. And he will be a yard shy of the first down. There's Leibold, the linebacker, coming in.
It was spotted short, but this drive has been really the best with the running backs understanding what do I need to do on this play. In this situation, it's 4th and 1. You obviously are going for it to work on this play, so you got to know exactly where your first down marker is, which is just the front edge of the 30-yard line. So if you're a running back, you have to get the ball to the front edge of that white line. 3rd down is pretty good, just didn't quite get there.
4th down and short, and Burrell is going to be close, but I don't think he got there. He was met in the hole by Cameron Neal, and the Bearcat defense comes up with the 4th down stop.
Yeah, penetration kills the running game again. I mean, it's one of those things, especially in short yardage, when you're trying to advance the ball, it doesn't happen quickly if there's someone in the backfield.
The bell ringing is over. The official movers of Bearcats Athletics would like to salute Brendan Sorsby for his 23-yard scramble for a touchdown in the second quarter, with making the move of the game. Just turn our attention to the middle.
You're watching the Big 12 on ESPN. Back-to-back home games before the rigors of Big 12 play for Cincinnati, and like they have really since 2000 and beyond, they have put up eye-popping numbers offensively against FCS opponents, and they have done that today with Northwestern State. And now trying to get his name into the act is Samaj Jones, and a lot of Bearcat fans tuned in wanting to see what their talented youngster can do as he gets an opportunity.
Yeah, he's a guy who's got some really good legs to him. He can run. He adds a similar element to Sorsby. He's a little shorter, a little faster. It's what you can see on the field here.
Using his running ability, he will take it into plus territory to the 48. Jones from the Northeast, redshirt freshman out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, St. Joseph's Prep, where he was the nation's fifth best dual threat quarterback, according to ESPN. So he was a big-time land for Satterfield and this staff.
Yeah, and especially as Sorsby, I mean, he's a redshirt junior. Depending on what NFL looks he gets, you may or may not be able to come back next year. So you got to work out what the future is, and future looks bright if you got this guy in the backfield.
Chance Williams, as a flag is down in the backfield. Williams takes it up to the 26-yard line, but the flag thrown in the vicinity of a hole.
Holding offense, number 66. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Xavier Lazawicki, one of the players that they're going to be counting on in a couple of weeks to provide some depth up front.
Yeah, as they enter the Big 12 slate, again, offensive linemen not knowing where the ball is, they get rolled up on, somebody twists an ankle, or somebody loses a helmet and you have to go in and execute. Moments like this, especially when you got a young quarterback, can you keep him comfortable and not put him in 1st and 20 situations?
Samaj Jones, 1st and long. He's going to throw for the first time. Safe throw, near side. Elijah Jones, the catch. Back close to the original line of scrimmage, a gain of 12.
Safe throw, but tough throw. I mean, it's only ball's going down the field, maybe only 6 or 7 yards, but it's going 40 yards across the field. You got to have a lot of arm strength to get there, and that's another thing they're excited about. The run threat draws the safeties forward. The passing threat pushes them back, so they're constantly in conflict.
Quarterback power over the right side on the low snap. Jones struggling his way to the 41-yard line. Jones, a winner in high school, led St. Joe to 2 straight 6A state football championships. He finished his decorated career with 108 career touchdowns, and he was the Pennsylvania Player of the Year.
Yeah, I think that last play wasn't a quarterback power. I think that was a quarterback
Quarterback improv.
Quarterback
low
improv.
Snap.
Ball's supposed to go to the right side, know where your miss is, and turn a bad play into an okay play.
3rd down. Gets rid of it quickly, slings it out to the flat. This is Johnson with the catch. Johnson into space, turns on the Jets. Isaiah Johnson to the end zone for the 2nd time today.
And that looks like an easy play. And man, just like a golfer, when they hit a 300-yard drive, man, that doesn't look that hard. This ball had to be put exactly in the right spot to allow him to run. It's on his front hip. Your offensive players, whether it's tight ends, wide receivers, are sticky and blocking down the field. And then all you have to do is make one guy miss. It's that same thing. There's 11 that can tackle. There's only 9 that can block between the thrower and the catcher. So can you make somebody miss? And really nice job there. Isaiah Johnson, they're really excited. Coach Satterfield called him just a little Cyrus Allen, and being able to then get him the ball, let him get play in space. It, again, builds confidence that if he has to come in or gets to come in later in the year, he can do some damage.
Johnson, a player they brought in from Western Carolina in the offseason. The speedster, the 185-pound sophomore. Couple of catches, 2 touchdowns for Isaiah Johnson today. Offensive firepower unleashed by Cincinnati. It was a pretty full stadium when we started, 3:30 local Eastern time kick, but fans with this game way out of hand started their Saturday night fun a little bit early, and we had a chance to stay in campus last night. All the Bearcat fans gathering. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of anticipation with this team. They get Dingle back healthy. They get the Godfather Corleone back. They feel they are right there in what should be a wide open Big 12 race this season.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good teams, but you can't really put your finger on the best one. You know, you'd think, well, Iowa State's got a couple good wins, and Texas Tech has that big haul, and Utah is always, with Coach Whittingham, going to be really good. But Cincinnati looks and we go, we got Brendan Sorsby, we got Don Corleone. We can do that. We can be one of those top teams, and this is a conference that you look at the All-State playoff predictor. Utah is the favorite, TCU next, BYU after that, but again, Texas Tech would be offended they're not on. Arizona State, Iowa State, Kansas, offended they're not on that list.
Utah, the team to keep an eye on after their tough season a year ago. Now, lopsided win against UCLA. They pounded Cal Poly.
There is no foul for illegal formation. Second down.
Yeah, Utah's an interesting team. Kyle Whittingham, I mean, I think, if I remember the statistic correctly, they've had a non-offensive touchdown for 21 consecutive seasons under the helm. So they just didn't have a quarterback last year. Cam Rising was in his 19th season, none of them healthy, and he gets hurt. And then they have Zach Wilson's younger brother, and he gets hurt. And they're on a fifth-string quarterback. Well, he's finally got a quarterback with Devin Dampier, and they brought the offensive coordinator from New Mexico with him. So if Whittingham gets a quarterback, watch out for Utah. That is not a team you want to play.
Zay Davis tackled by Gibson, setting up a third down. Clock continuing to move. Inside 5 minutes to go. Cincinnati, record-setting performance, 7 touchdown passes today. That is a school record combination, and it's been a trio of quarterbacks adding to that total with Sorsby, Lichtenberg, and most recently Samaj Jones getting into it. Late shift by the Demons. Anderson looking downfield, nothing, now trying to buy time, throws on the run, contact, and it falls incomplete, no flag down.
Yeah, probably should have been. The contact was a little early. Defender wasn't looking necessarily to make a play on the ball, was looking to make a play on the player. If I'm in the zebra stripes, I would have thrown a flag there. But otherwise, I feel like this has been a fairly well-officiated game, generally speaking. There's been fouls called that have been obvious, and they've kept the pace of play moving. But that one right there, I would have said a little pass interference, but brings the punt team on the field.
This receiving core for the second straight week, a very quiet day, just 3 receptions among the entire receiving unit. Somebody's going to have to step up among that receiving core. Good high spiraling kick by Evans, and the fair catch at the 28. 40-yard punt. Cincinnati to get it back with a little more than 3.5 minutes to go, and it has been a perfect day as far as execution for the Bearcats. They get the first turnover from this defense, something that they put a priority on. Tackling has been good. The running backs have looked sharp. This offensive line imposing its will and showcasing some depth on the defensive line.
Yeah, they did exactly what you need to do, and I say did past tense. There's still 3.5 minutes, but they've done exactly what they needed to do against a team that you're better than, and they were sharp, they were crisp, they were everything you want to get out of this kind of tune-up game before the Big 12 starts in a couple weeks for them.
Take a look at what's coming up for Cincinnati. One of their bye weeks next week, so they will get a little bit of rest, get some of these banged up bodies healed, and then they travel to Lawrence. Iowa State will be in town on the 4th, UCF, and then Baylor. So a key home stretch at Nippert if they can win at Lawrence against Daniels and KU.
Yeah, and that, when you watch Kansas, they are very good at times, and then he's going to make a head-scratching play at other times. So they got to be able to keep the pressure on him once he gets up there. And hopefully be able to be fully healthy with Corleone and Dingle being able to play in that game to force Daniels into some mistakes. But you look at that schedule and you continue it a little bit further, they're going to have to play Arizona. Arizona just beat Kansas State last night, better than everyone expected. I mean, there's UCF, Scott Frost, as he gets more kind of his guys back in there, they're going to get sharper as the season goes along. Who knows with Mike Gundy? I mean, they can't be as bad as they showed against Oregon, but, you know, that's Mike Gundy's always an adventure with Oklahoma State.
Not too many around the Big 12 predicted the start for Kansas State, 1-3. Now, last night's game not counting toward the conference standings because it was already scheduled with those two schools, but a lot of people had K-State as your champion of the Big 12, and they have hit some tough times, losing to Army. They had a nail-biter in their win against FCS opponent North Dakota.
2-minute timeout.
2-minute timeout here. Put the finishing touches on this one from Clifton when we come back. Something we haven't seen a lot of today. In fact, just the second punt of the afternoon for Max Fletcher. 9th straight year that Cincinnati has had a punter from down under. The first-year transfer replacing his brother Mason. Started his career at Arkansas, was an all-SEC punter with the Razorbacks. Wanted a chance to play alongside his brother a year ago. Now he's the main guy. You take a look at the Week 4 schedule, some good ones. West Virginia right now leading Pitt, so they might have some momentum going to Lawrence. Arizona State, Baylor, Wyoming, Colorado, BYU, East Carolina, a couple of non-conference showdowns.
Yeah, non-conference showdowns. That Arizona State-Baylor game is going to be a fun one. Sawyer Robertson and Sam Levitt going to be able to sling it back and forth. And can Arizona State rebound from that loss at Mississippi State? I mean, they lose 40% of all of their production from last year with Cam Scadaboo graduating. They're going to have to replace that and get a little bit sharper as the season goes along.
A little RPO action. Good job, though, containing on the edge from the outside linebacker position. Other games next week, Tulsa is in Stillwater. Oklahoma State in some early trouble this year. Utah and Texas Tech, we both talked about it. That's the game of the week.
Easily the game of the week. Texas Tech and Utah has giant ramifications for the rest of the conference because of those two. I mean, defensive line play. You think Texas Tech, you think offense and, throwing it around the field and air raid, but they might have the two best edge rushers in all of college football, regardless of conference. They're really good. And now Utah, again, we mentioned it before, it's very physical. Those two, if I'm a playoff committee, I'm watching that game live to see who's on this field.
Second down, Jeremiah James through a little bit of a hole, and plethora of flags come in after the play.
Plethora is right, 4 flying at the same time. I don't think long discussion on this one. Do you think everybody goes and picks up their own flag?
Oh, I think he's smiling because...
Personal foul, face mask, number 33 the defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So one more penalty before the end of this one as we have a minute to go. Somebody getting that hand up around the face mask.
Is there like a good luck flag? You got a good luck pair of socks. Do you think like a referee has a good luck flag?
It might be. It might be. It might be.
First and 10 after the penalty from the 39-yard line. They go right back to James. One thing in talking with Blaine McCorkle this week, he was proud of the way his team finished last week. They had a goal line stand, they had a late interception in the end zone, and they put together their longest drive of the game against the Minnesota Reserve. So he loves seeing that fight. As he looks up at that scoreboard, watching his offense execute one, maybe two more plays before they hop on that plane and head back home and get ready for FCS competition. Up the middle one more time, it's James, and that should be the finishing touch on this one. And Cincinnati, a heavy favorite today, clobbers Northwestern State. Scott Satterfield, another win against an FCS opponent. The Bearcats take care of business. They head into the bye week 2-1 as they get ready for the Big 12 opener.